So the first race of the Formula 1 season in 2024 is in the bag, and the question all of us have at the end of this race is, can anybody beat Max Verstappen in a Red Bull in 2024? Now I'll come on to why I think there is reason for optimism in 2024 in just a moment, but first of all, Max Verstappen looked unstoppable again behind the wheel of the RB20. Yes, at this point in the season, it looks like Red Bull really have continued their dominance through the winter break and into this new season. Now, Sergio Perez didn't look quite as comfortable, although he was able to bring himself through into second and to get ahead of the field by a decent margin. But Max Verstappen was over 20 seconds clear at the end of the race with the fastest lap point as well, meaning that he is significantly ahead at the end of the Bahrain Grand Prix. So yes, things look very good for Max Verstappen and for Red Bull, and they look like they've done it again, and it's going to be another season which is going to have Max dominating at the front of the grid. Now that's not a bad thing, and before people get all up in arms that we're going to have a boring season of Formula 1, there's many things to get excited about in 2024. But yes, the race win may not be one of those that we get to see having lots of drivers fighting for the win, or even multiple cars fighting for the win in Formula 1 in 2024. But there are reasons to be optimistic. Both Ferrari and Mercedes were nursing problems with their cars in this opening race. Leclerc had significant brake issues in the race, meaning that he couldn't properly attack the corners from the beginning of the race. We saw him locking up into nearly every corner, especially those towards a long back straight, meaning that he really couldn't use his car optimally for the race. It took a while for Sainz to push past Leclerc, and although Sainz, I think, is an excellent driver, he's not the sort of driver like Max Verstappen, like Leclerc, who is a phenomenal talent, although I think he really made a case for himself in this race as to why he should get another drive. Mercedes had problems with cooling their power unit through this race, meaning that they also could not fully optimise their race and fully attack every single lap, so they weren't able to properly race in Bahrain. McLaren said from the outset that this was not a track that suits their car. We know that they don't really suit this layout of track with the high degradation on tyres. It's just not a track which suits the McLaren's car, but they should be competitive going forward as of next weekend. So hopefully as we get into the rest of the season, it will get tighter at the front of the grid, and they're going to be bringing upgrades all the way through the season, meaning we should have much better racing. So yes, there is reason for optimism. One of the downsides though is that Red Bull are planning to upgrade the RB20 as soon as Japan to make that more zero side pod-esque in its concept and make it even more competitive than it is right now. So yes, Red Bull are planning to continue their spell of dominance, and the other teams are going to hopefully be doing better than they did. It's a coin toss really as to whether this season is going to be epic like we've had before. But Bahrain really is too small a sample set. We have to wait until we get later into the season before we can fully judge whether we are onto a winner and we're going to have a brilliant season. But even if we don't, we can ignore whether Verstappen is winning and look at the rest of the grid. Look at last year. If we ignored what was going on with Verstappen dominating the front, we had an excellent race from P2 backwards. And it was really enjoyable to watch those drivers fighting it out on track. And we should be celebrating Max Verstappen. If he is dominating the sport, he's doing what other drivers have done before. Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Senna. It's just something that happens. Drivers will dominate when they are that good, and we shouldn't be upset about it. We should enjoy it, because when we look back in the future, we will look back on this as an era of Formula 1 that we were pleased to witness. So yes, domination can be a little bit boring, and this race was a little bit processional. But we want to enjoy Formula 1 for what it is, the motorsport, seeing the cars on track. And as of next weekend in Saudi Arabia, the racing should get much more interesting. So, do you think we are in for a Red Bull and Max Verstappen dominated season of Formula 1? Or do you think there's reasons to be optimistic about this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.